Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Thursday, October 13th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. And here are some of the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Cherokee Nation has honored two twin brothers who are Army veterans of the Vietnam War by presenting them with the Cherokee Medal of Patriotism at the regular October Tribal Council meeting in Tahlequah. The brothers serve as examples of the long-standing Cherokee military tradition. Rod and Jim Lacey were born to Albert and Loy Bell Lacey at their Westville, Oklahoma home on December 1st, 1945. Both brothers were drafted in October 1965 at the age of 19. Together they were sent to Fort Polk, Louisiana for basic training, then into Fort Rucker, Alabama. After that, the brothers parted ways, with Rod Lacey assigned to Fort Benning, Georgia, Jim Lacey being sent to Vietnam to join the 193rd Aviation Company. The Cherokee Nation honors Cherokee servicemen and women during regular tribal council meetings as a way to thank them for their sacrifices for their country and as a way to demonstrate the high regard in which all veterans are held by the tribe. Statistically and historically, Native Americans, including Cherokees, are thought to hold the highest record of military service per capita of any ethnic group, according to the U.S. Department of Defense. And from by just visiting the community, you'll find that right away. A Hidden America, Children of the Plains, airs on Friday, October 14th, as Diane Sawyer takes an in-depth look at the young dreamers and survivors of the Pine Ridge Reservation fighting against decades of neglect. Sawyer travels to Pine Ridge Reservation, where some of the proudest Americans living in unthinkable conditions refuse to be defeated. A young girl filled with American Idol dreams, yet facing a life-changing reality. A high school quarterback whose strength and spirit knows no bounds. A magical little girl filled with hope. For over a year, as she has done with the poverty-stricken children from parts of the Appalachia and Camden, New Jersey, Sawyer and her team followed young fighters and dreamers, this time from the Lakota at Pine Ridge, South Dakota, living in the shadows of Mount Rushmore. The Cherokee Nation Supreme Court this week struck down a deal brokered last month to allow descendants of slaves once owned by the Oklahoma tribal members to vote for its principal chief. The ruling, filed October 11th by the tribe's high court, comes hours before results were announced in the latest special election for the chief. Last month, the tribe's acting chief and attorney general agreed to a deal with attorneys for the Freedmen that extended balloting until October 8th, so the Freedmen would be allowed to vote in that election. And the Cherokee Nation's Election Commission did certify the voting results on October 12th, showing the longtime tribal councilman Bill John Baker had defeated incumbent Chad Smith for chief of the Oklahoma's largest tribe, putting Baker ahead of Smith by nearly 1,600 votes. And Smith had 5 days to request a recount. It's not known if the latest Cherokee Nation Supreme Court decision will have any effect on that latest election at all. A tribe whose reservation borders the Grand Canyon wants to boost its economy to give tourists an aerial view of the massive gorge. Nearly 5 million people visit the Grand Canyon each year, and some undoubtedly take a highway that runs through Navajo Nation communities. Navajo lawmaker Walter Phelps sees potential in that number. He has sponsored legislation in the tribal council that asks the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Park Service to exempt air tour operators flying to or from the reservation from having to use the valuable allocations required for commercial air tours at the Grand Canyon. Navajo officials have talked about taking tourists from Cameron to the confluences of the Colorado and Little Colorado rivers, which boosts a wide view of the Grand Canyon. But Phelps says it's too soon to think about possible routes. The tribe would have to get the blessing of the Park Service and an exemption from allocations of any of the flights from the FAA to cross over into the park boundaries. On October 20th, President Obama will welcome to the White House the 13 recipients of the 2011 Presidential Citizens Medal, the nation's second highest civilian honor. This year's recipients of the Citizens Medal come from different backgrounds, but they share a commitment to a great cause, to a cause greater than themselves, said Obama. They exemplify the best of what it means to be an American. The Citizens Medal was established in 1969 to recognize American citizens who have performed exemplary deeds of service to their country or their fellow citizens. Included in the 6,000 nominations this year, and of the 13 people being recognized, is Clarence Lee Alexander from Fort Yukon, Alaska. Sometimes called the grandfather of tribal government in Alaska for his long-held role as the chief of the Fort Yukon, Clarence Alexander has done extensive work at cleaning up the Yukon River, resulting in closure of numerous open burning dumps and the removal or recycling of millions of pounds of waste. Alexander is the former Grand Chief of the Gwich'in people of Alaska. Alexander receives the Citizens Medal for demonstrating how much good a dedicated leader can accomplish. The Sierra Club's Wisconsin chapter says an iron mine in far northwestern Wisconsin will threaten the Bad River watershed, American Indian wild rice harvest, and public health. Gojibik Taconite wants to construct an iron mine in Iron and Ashland counties, saying the project would create hundreds of jobs. The Sierra Club's John Muir chapter issued a statement this week, officially declaring its opposition. The chapter claims the mine would pollute the Bad River watershed with dust, mercury, and other heavy metals. The chapter says even small amounts of water pollution could hurt the Bad River's tribe's wild rice harvest, and mine dust could cause other health problems on the reservation. Gojibik's president says the company hasn't performed any analysis of the mine's chemical composition yet and declined comment on the Sierra Club's position. A new welcome sign designed and painted by Patrick Disjarlet would be erected by Ross Lewis Sign Company on Tuesday morning, October 18th, starting at 9:30 a.m. The colorful sign measures 10 by 18 feet. It was painted by Red Lake High School art teacher and artist Patrick Disjarlet. And a total of 4 signs with the same painting will be erected during that week, one at each one of the major border points on the reservation. Disjarlet is a graduate of the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the Minneapolis College of Arts and Design. 8 Native American artists are displaying their South Dakota ties in a joint exhibition of drawing, painting, and sculpture at the South Dakota Art Museum in Brookings, South Dakota. The artwork uses a variety of mediums such as ink on bed sheets to shed light on native issues. The artists come from a variety of tribes, including the Sac and Fox and the Oglala Lakota. The Heritage Center at Red Cloud Indian School on the Pine Ridge Reservation and the Doll Arts Museum, or Arts Center in Rapid City, South Dakota, is organizing the traveling exhibit. It will be on display through January 15th of next year. A gala reception and talk will be held at Friday from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the museum. And that's going to be another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of Native News Update. Thank you for joining with us, and come back again soon.